Welcome Chessbox Worldwide, where we bring you battles that rewrite the rules. Tonight's feature is a Premier Bet League clash that defiled every engine's logic. A game of pure human madness between two Ugandan giants. Leading the Mulago Kings is Akabo Mike, a FIDE developmental instructor and a proven competitor who famously tied for first place in the 2018 Kigali Rapid Chess Tournament. His opponent, Matovu Abel, the tactical powerhouse of Kireka Panthers. Matovu's stellar 2024 saw him secure a 9 out of 9 gold medal and lead at the Makerere University team to victory at All Africa Games, cementing his status as the reigning Kireka champion. Akabo chooses the solid Vienna game, but the world turns upside down on move 15 when Matovu Abel unleashes the shockwave on move 15, playing f4, a pawn storm for ages. What follows is a chaotic cocktail of brilliancy and blunder, as White desperately fights to save his king under siege. Welcome to the center of African chess. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more African chess content. In the white pieces, Akabo Mike opened the game with 1 e4, and we see e5 from Matovu Abel, the reigning Kireka chess champion. Knight c3, knight f6. This introduces us to the Vienna game. The main move of the Vienna game follows up with pawn f4, trying to open up for the c column so that after short castling, the rook can sit on f1. But however, in this position, Akabo Mike first of all played g3, trying to fianchetto the bishop to sit on g2. And now we see d5 from Abel, challenging the center. Pawn takes d5, knight takes d5. And in this position, he played knight coming to g2. But however, bishop g2 should have been considered, followed by knight takes c3. And now we could see pawn takes c3 and knight c6. But however, he played knight comes to e2. Bishop g4, bishop g2, knight takes c3. And remember, the knight is pinned, so you can't use the same, so you have to capture using pawn. Pawn takes c3. But now remember, the bishop is putting an eye on the pawn which is on b7, so something has to be done about it. And in this position, knight c6 should have been considered, followed by d4, but he played c6, rook b1, hitting on the pawn which is on b7, queen c7, defending the pawn. And in this position, it was high time Mike goes ahead and plays d4, followed by bishop d6. But however, he played short castling, and now we see bishop e7, d3, short castling, bishop e3, knight d7, h3, hitting on the bishop, bishop e6, c4, rook comes to d8, queen c1, and in this position after f5, this is the critical moment of the game. It was in this position that Mike was supposed to go ahead and play pawn f4. For example, after pawn f4, queen b2 would be unspotted, trying to put an eye on the pawn which is on b7 and also taking control of the diagonal. So b6 could be a prudent move. King h2. This could be a playable position for Mike. But however, after f5, he immediately went on and played queen b2, and Abel went on and played the best move in the position. He played pawn f4, trying to open files and try to squeeze the juice out of the stones. Pawn takes f4, pawn takes f4, and in this position, he played knight takes f4, rook takes f4. Mike went and played bishop takes f4, but however, queen takes b7 should have been considered. For example, after queen takes b7, rook takes b7. Remember, the rook is hanging, rook f8 could have been seen, and then rook takes a7. Mike could have pawn majority on the queen side. But however, after rook takes f4, bishop takes f4, and now we see queen takes f4, rook e1 should have been considered. For example, after rook e1, we could have seen knight c5, queen e5, queen takes e5, rook takes e5, and after king f7, rook e1. At least this could be a playable position for Mike. But however, after queen takes f4, he played queen takes b7, and Abel played bishop d6, threatening checkmate in 1, rook e1. In this position, I'd like you to pause the video and think of the move Abel played in the position. Ladies and gentlemen, the reigning Kireka chess champion, Abel Matovu, played bishop takes h3. Fantastic move. The best move is to take the bishop. For example, in case of bishop takes h3, we could see queen h2 check, and after king f1, queen takes h3 check, king e2, knight e5. Queen is threatening to check, the knight is going to be taking the pawn, the rook can be forking. So many interesting combinations which can be in this position. The bishop can still be coming in to check. So many interesting combinations. But however, after bishop takes h3, Mike didn't bother taking the bishop. He tried queen takes c6, and in this position, Abel played rook f8. Now, another threat has been brought to life. Now, the queen is looking at the pawn which is sitting on f2. And remember also, queen check is very strong at this position. The computer recommends bishop d5, which doesn't even work because at the end of the day, the king is left desperate without any defending piece. So Mike tried queen d5 check, and after king h8, it was in this position that Mike resigned the game because there is no way you can save the king from being mated. All these, so many threats are happening to be on the board, and there is no way you can jump out of the game. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in your games.